too hard to maintain.
Yes! Yes! Oh! Oh! Oh!
I'll have what she's having.
Heavens to Murgatroyd!
I'll have what she's having.
Oh my God! Come my lady, come my lady, come my lady, come my lady, come my lady.
This is S. Michael Sims,
And Christine.
and we are
Oh, okay. I'm going to do this. Let me do it.
okay.
Taboo, a couple's journey into the depths of sexual depravity.
So awesome! You did so great. I'm
I
so
did.
proud of you. Good job, baby.
Thank
That's who we are, and here we are on episode 9.
9.
9 episodes, and I guarantee you the next episode that you hear, and possibly even this episode, will have an intro and an outro. So
Okay.
I want to explain real quick where the intro came from. So the intro is called Happy Go Lively, and I first heard it on the Ren and Stimpy show, which is like my favorite cartoon ever, other than Looney Tunes. And Looney Tunes is both our favorite cartoon of
Yeah.
all time. But yeah, it's just one of those like 50s kind of hokey, but at the same time very complex musical compositions. So over top of that, I put all these iconic sexy things and silly things and cool things. And then the outro is 3 Mile Smile by Aerosmith, which is like one of the sleaziest songs they ever recorded. And I just did like the opening numbers. So it sounds, Christine pointed out, it sounds a lot like Walk This Way.
It does, yeah.
So, yay, we'll have an intro and an outro because we are starting to take this show, not that we haven't before, but it's starting to kind of pick up, and we're taking it very seriously because we've had some great feedback. It's been cathartic for both of us.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot of fun. So we hope that you are having fun also. And please let us know what you think about the outro and the intro, about the content, of course. You can email us at
Taboo, a couple's journey. And that's couples with an S. Taboo, a couple's journey at gmail.com.
That's us. So, wow. So, we've been through a lot in the last couple of weeks, I think. Yeah?
Yeah. And we've been telling you guys all about it. But yes, we have been through a lot. Amazing.
Yeah.
How much?
Yeah, we've got some exciting guests coming up soon. We've got a B-movie actress coming up that does a lot of sexploitation horror, and a lot of like camming and exotic dancing. So I'm excited to bring her on board for a show. And then we also have a gay man who is, I thought I was depraved. This guy, oh my God, like, he goes by the moniker The Last Nephilim. And if you know anything about the Bible, the Nephilim were like these creatures that were sent from heaven that were like beyond human. So that's what this guy thinks of himself, apparently. And he's got the sexual appetite and activity to back it up. He's done all kinds of crazy shit with men and women for many, many years. He's also a veteran, so thank him for his service. He's an amazing guy, and I'm so excited to have him. He has committed to coming on the show as well. So we have some very exciting guests lined up to appear on the show. But in the meantime, we will continue to do what we do every week, which is to update you on our journey, into sexual depravity, and also the taboo of the week. So the taboo for this week, I'm a little bit nervous about because I'm not sure. Now I know that streaming services like Spotify and Apple, all of the podcast streaming services tend to be a little more lax because you can put that there's explicit content. But we also broadcast on YouTube, and YouTube tends to be a little more strict about what you can say on their channel. So,
and actually, we've really pushed the boundaries on that.
Yeah. I would not be surprised if we get taken down at some point on YouTube. But hey, until it happens, God bless America.
Right.
But baby, you want to tell them what tonight's episode, the taboo of the week is?
Okay. Okay. It's CNC. That's Charlie, Nancy, Charlie. CNC. And if you don't know what that is, it is consensual, non-consensual. Now, if you take a second and think about that, consensual, non-consensual, what is that? We know what that is. That is consensual grape. Okay, I did not say the word. I said
Now,
grape.
we have said the word RAPE on previous episodes, and I'm waiting any day for those to be yanked.
Yeah.
But we're going to try not to.
Yeah, we really need to start paying attention to what we say if we want to monetize our videos at some point, and we do. I mean, we're not doing this just to have fun, which we are, but you know, we also want to make a business out of this. So, you know, which is why we're doing things to try to, you know, make the episodes more professional. And
So to that end, baby, I would like you to promote what we did tonight, and I want to tell them about what we did tonight together, which you have done for a long time.
Okay.
Which is
I will, but first finish the topic.
for the topic, yeah.
Yeah. So the topic is again,
Grape.
it's a consensual grape, and that's literally what it is. And that can run the spectrum from, you know, something really heavy in BDSM or sadomasochism, all the way down to like my
So
fantasy.
what you did with What's His Nuts on Saturday, which was a great fantasy.
Correct. That was a very dark fantasy of grape, grape. Very dark fantasy. But you can go from that, and that was just a fantasy. That was just us role playing while we were having sex. But consensual, non-consensual is about actually playing it out, acting on the fantasy. So you would sit down. Well, I'm not going to go into the whole thing right now. First, we're going to talk about something else. But that's what we're talking about tonight.
Yeah, that's a nice taboo topic.
Yeah, that's the topic. We are going to talk about it next. But right now, I will tell you what we did tonight. Because we're supposed to be talking about our relationship, and this is just another, you know, thing that another
We
facet.
keep adding levels to our relationship.
Yeah, we keep adding to our relationship. It's never ending here. So I was a cam model. Now, I was a cam model, and if you listen to the very first episode, I think I said that.
Mm-hmm.
I was a cam model back in the 90s. And yeah, back in the 90s, that's right. I know, some of you weren't born, whatever. And I have been since COVID. Come COVID time, you know, when everybody was out of work, camming and OnlyFans became a pretty big deal. And plus, nobody could go anywhere. So all the people were at home masturbating or just, you know, having sex with whoever they got locked in with. So these things were a big deal. There's a story behind how I got involved in it because I was actually married at the time. But we'll skip that, and I'll just say I got involved in it. And I got an OnlyFans page, and then I got a Chaturbate page, and I had it from 2021, and it was actually probably late. It was probably November of 2020. And I kept it as is, which means that I was basically virtually, it was a virtual strip show, basically. And I did that until probably 2022. And then 23 and 24, with 24 tapering really, really off. But I had gone to non-nudity, and I started doing a lot of just graphic conversation. And I realized that I had a gift for talking to people about their sexual relationships and intimacy. And
That's when you started your podcast.
You're right. That's how I got into my podcast, which is Unfiltered Real Talk with Christine and Chris Anthony, where we talk about relationships. And that's how that started. So I cammed, in other words, stripped online for money for about 2 years solid. Then I started changing it up. Well, tonight we decided that I would reanimate. Is that it? Rebirth my camming.
Resurrect.
Yeah, resurrect my camming career. So, I mean, I still have my page at Chaturbate, and it's Hello, I'm Honey. Hello, I am HUNNY. And
Honey, like Winnie the Pooh.
right. And we went on we had some serious technical difficulties, which we're going to have to take care of in the next few days. But we did that. Tonight we got Mike verified. Well, it's in the process. Once he's verified, he'll be able to come on cam with me. Tonight, he was off cam interacting a bit. Yeah, well, he ate me under the table. So there was a table in front of me with the computer on it, and he crawled under the table and ate me, which is funny because I can't tell you how many times men would write me when I was on before, and they'd say, wouldn't you just love to have me under your table right now eating your pussy? Well, that happened tonight several times, and it was fucking amazing. This man, and I hesitate to tell you this because there's probably some woman out there listening to this, or even a man, bi man, who's just going to imagine this and just flip, because this guy's tongue is like velvet. It's like this big, lush, wet, velvet tongue that just covers every place you want it to touch. It fucking makes me almost orgasm the minute he touches me. It's insane.
I've learned you.
Huh?
I've learned you.
Yeah, he has learned me. I still think you could take that tongue anywhere and fucking just rule anybody's pussy or cock. But anyway, we did that, and I reconnected with a number of fans. They showed up. It was probably only about 15 or so, and I have like 57,000 followers. So 15 to 20 isn't that many, but it was nice to reconnect with some, and they were very enthusiastic. And so yeah, that's what we did, and we're going to start doing it. We are going to be a couple cam, and Mike is going to fuck me live if you want to see it.
You're gonna fuck me.
Yeah, I'm gonna fuck. We're gonna do it all. We're gonna do everything on this cam. I mean, tonight all we did was, he ate me under the table, and I showed everybody the dildo that he put in my pussy, which was a big, black, very thick. Is about 10 inches, and I don't even know how big in the center. It's one of those that tapers into the center, really super massive, girth, and then comes back down again. And he definitely got the girth in. He did not go all the way in though, but I would say he probably got about 4 or 5 inches in, and he definitely got into that massive girth. So I showed that to everybody, and we talked about what we've been doing recently. We talked about what we're going to do. And everybody was very, very welcoming and enthusiastic, and I had a lot of people just so happy to see me back, and I think it's going to go well. So we're going to continue doing that.
So pitch it again.
It is it's Chaturbate, chaturbate.com, and I'll put it in the description. Chaturbate.com, and you search Hello I'm Honey, HELLOIMHUNNY. That's, you just search that. If I am on cam, which if you follow me on, I can't promote it on TikTok, but if you follow me on Twitter, or Snapchat, I will post when I go online. I always post, and if I'm online, you can actually, there's a way to search. You can actually put in, mature women, mature blonde, something like that, and I'll pop right up. But sometimes people have a hard time finding it with the name, unless I'm on cam. So, but it is Hello I'm Honey. Search for it. Hopefully you'll find it. You can follow the page, and if you follow it, and just like YouTube, you like it, you click the little bell, then when I go online, it'll notify you via email.
So just a little bit about our relationship and how amazing it is that we ended up together. I am completely overwhelmed at times by how very sexual and into the lifestyle and experienced and wise and all the things that Christine is. And I've mentioned this in previous episodes that I am coming from a basically loveless 23 marriage with a woman who never wanted to fuck me and, shamed me for masturbating. And I'm going from that into having an intimate, basically soul level relationship with a cam girl who does a podcast and who has done a podcast for many years about sex. So you can only imagine what a hypersexual person like myself, who has been repressed for over 20 years, is feeling being in this kind of relationship with this kind of person. She's beyond my dream girl. So that's where I'm at. I just wanted to throw that out there. Tonight was amazing. We did the show with her Chaturbate, and now we're doing tonight's show. But we should do, an update on just how we're doing in the lifestyle.
Yeah.
And basically, so we had our encounter with the single white male, which went as well as it could.
Yeah.
It didn't go perfectly. It didn't go as expected, but what we did was what we always do, which was kind of pick up the pieces and salvage all the good parts and then turn it into something positive. Yeah. So we do have images of what happened, which she has shared some of those with me, and I'm super excited about that. We've posted them on some of our dating websites, apps, and so it was a good thing, and it was very cathartic for both of us. I think that it helped to feed her praise kink, but more than that, it helped her to feed my kind of fantasy of cuckoldry in a way, but also her stag vixen fantasy.
Correct. And sorry to interrupt, but I think it also opened Mike up to accepting parts of him that maybe, that maybe he wasn't totally in touch with, and that's not to say, I'm not trying to out him. That sounds bad. I'm not trying to say anything. I'm just saying I think it made both of us realize things about our relationship and the way we feel about each other. Like I told him when I got back that, and I didn't tell him right away because we had this whole fantasy of the way that it was going to happen, and we stuck to it for the most part. But once all that was over, I told him that it was good for me to do this because I realized how much I love him and how much I want him, and it just, I don't know, it made me feel like the way I think I was supposed to feel in a perfect world. In a perfect world, you can experiment with these things, you can explore these things together, and realize as much fun as you may have, it's not as good as what you have. And it enhances what you have. It makes you be so happy to go back to what you have. And that's what I realized. And I think he realized some things too. Maybe at some point we'll get into all that, but yeah.
Yeah, it was good. If you try something in the lifestyle and it does not go as you plan, and it doesn't go perfectly, and some feelings come up, or there's some disappointment, or whatever happens,
and there probably will be.
Yeah, expect that. Have a plan B, for what if things don't go exactly as we planned them. But always realize that it's all about you and your person, or if you are poly, your people. Yeah. It's all about you and your anchor in your relationship, and that's how we got through it, and that's what made it special, and that's how we were able to kind of again pick up the pieces of what went on and move on even stronger than we were before.
Yeah.
And I can't reiterate that enough. Our relationship is better having experienced a not perfect lifestyle encounter.
Yeah, and it definitely was not perfect by any means. It wasn't the way that I would have. It wasn't at all the way that I ever envisioned Stag and Vixen happening. But it was something that Mike needed. The way that it came down was his request, And it's definitely one of the ways the stag and vixen relationship happens like that. That's very common. It's just not the way I ever wanted it.
I wasn't there. Is the
Correct.
main difference,
He
and,
was
and
not
she's
there.
always envisioned her stag actually being there
Yeah.
as she is having an encounter with
Yeah.
the guy that the stag says, okay, yes, do things with him.
Yeah, I have never envisioned doing anything with another person without my person being there. Never.
And I kind of sensed that, and I kind of injected myself into the scenario by ordering her a coffee and sending it to the hotel room,
Yeah.
by texting her and saying, hey, what's going on? And
Which sort of backfired on him.
yeah, because she's like, we didn't agree to this. Like, you
Yeah.
said you were going to wait until I got home, and then I would tell you everything that was going on. But at the end of the day, I think she kind of got what I was going for,
Yeah.
which is that I know that you wanted me there. I couldn't be there. And I kind of, for my own sake,
He didn't want me there.
needed
I
to
mean,
not be there.
He didn't want to be there. This was his fantasy as much as mine. He needed this the
And
way
it was part penitence. It
Yeah.
was a part of why we did what we did was for me to feel like what it might be like to lose her. And I did. I had all those feelings, and by the end of it, I was bawling my eyes out. We hugged each other. We had wonderful intimacy. You know, we did life together, and then the next afternoon, and it took a little longer than we probably had originally planned, but by the next afternoon, I reclaimed her, you know, according to the rules of the Stag Vixen fantasy, and we looked in each other's eyes, and we owned each other, and she was mine, and I was hers, and it, you know, all's well that ends well.
Yeah.
But do I want to do it like that again? Would I want to do it like that again? I don't think so. Not anytime soon, and certainly not with the penitence added to it.
Yeah, and I really ran him through the ringer.
You did, because you were playing a role.
I did. He told me to do this, and I did it. It took me a minute because when he got home, which we talked about this. We did that special. If you listen to our last podcast, we actually did a
We
podcast.
did, so I don't want to spend too much
Yeah.
more time talking about this encounter because
Yeah.
we talked about it in episode 8.
And I just now remembered that we actually did this. So I won't go over it again, but he treated me a certain way when he got home, and it completely set me off and took me out of the fantasy. And I was like, what the hell? And he reassured me that this is new territory. He didn't know what to do. But it's like, I'm still in the fantasy. I just don't know how to handle. I don't know what to do. And so I'm like, okay, let me take care of this. And I did.
So yeah, she fell back on her dominatrix persona, Mistress Frame, and she ran me over the coals.
I did.
Raked me over the coals, goddammit.
Until he cried.
I did. I cried like a bitch. But again, all's well that ends well. We have moved past that.
Yeah.
We are on to our next phase, which currently is a cross between, I guess, my main fantasy, which is finding 2 large black guys to fuck her at the same time and doing shit with a couple.
Which he hasn't even fucked my ass yet, so I don't even know how we're going to
Right,
get to
so
that.
that's on the back burner until I claim her asshole. Because, yeah, I got to fuck her in the ass before I give it up to, you know, large Negroes.
Yeah.
I guess you can't say that anymore. Lord, I apologize. Again, I'm 50 years old, so you millennials that are listening to this, please forgive me. I'll get it right eventually. But large African-American men...
I think they're just black.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to fuck her in the ass before anybody else gets a chance to. But yeah, that's my main fantasy, is to watch her get DP'd by 2 black guys.
Yeah.
But her main fantasy, besides the Stag Vixen, is to suck my cock with another female and possibly do penetration and face sitting with the other female, alternating while they make out.
No, not alternating. She's not getting that tongue. No.
Oh, so she'll be on my cock while
Yeah.
you're sitting on my face.
Yeah.
However you want to play it out, baby, I'm up for it.
The tongue is golden. That's my tongue.
But whether that occurs with a couple or a single female, we have yet to determine. So
Yeah.
that's where we're at. We're kind of, surfing the dating apps.
We did talk tonight about one woman that reached out to us.
Yeah, which kind of played on a couple of our taboo episodes that we've had. So for one, we have a BBW, which we haven't really talked about yet. BBW, if you don't know, stands for Big Beautiful Woman. And these are women who are technically obese, but not necessarily morbidly obese. They have...
They can be.
But they have a gut at least. They usually have large breasts, which this woman does. And large breasts is not a turn on for Christine at all. Christine is bi-curious / bisexual.
I'm situationally bi.
But this woman has very large breasts.
Yeah.
So, and she's 30, which again, our kind of age range that we were looking for was 40 to 60.
Well, that's my age range.
Right. Okay, fair enough. I'll fuck anything that moves.
Yeah. We just have to keep it legal with him.
Right. Hey.
Hey.
Okay, but so this woman who's basically too large and too young for what we've been looking for reached out to us.
Yeah.
So I kind of saw that as maybe a sign, like, okay, we need to be kind to people and...
Which we've talked about.
Yeah, and give them the benefit of the doubt. We do make exceptions for people who are sincere and can make up for the things that we're looking for in other ways. We do that with each other. I'm not the perfect person for her, and she's not the perfect person for me. But really, she is.
Boy,
honestly,
this is news to me.
Really, she is. But I know that I'm not the perfect person for her because I've read her fucking profiles.
Whatever.
I've listened to her fucking shows. I know that there's a couple things missing that I can tweak that would make me the perfect person for her. And I'm working on those things. But the bottom line is that this person who doesn't really match what we were looking for reached out to us. It's different than us reaching out to her. And so we kind of said, okay, let's give her the benefit of the doubt and see what she's about. And she messaged us back, sent us a couple of pictures. And again,
Mike's like, oh,
I did.
So sweet.
She is. She's 30, which to us, I'm
He's
50.
very into the innocence.
I am. I don't know what it is. It's like, I feel sometimes like a coming of age persona within myself, and it gets me off when Christine gets into that persona of hers, of that she's a coming of age human being.
Yeah, we have a fantasy where we're ourselves, but we're our younger selves.
And her younger self is actually 2 years older than my younger self, so she's more twisted than me. So
that's true.
Let's just be clear about all
We're both under 18.
We're both fucked up.
We're both just a couple of young teenagers.
But long story short, this single female, which is super rare, by the way, so if you do get hit up by a single female, don't just swipe left if they don't exactly match what you're looking for, because
talk to them.
Talk to them, see what they're about. And this girl apparently is all about, it was so sweet. She's like, I would want to please both of you 1,000%. And I was just like, oh my God, that's so like just innocent and sweet, so fuck it, we said, all right, let's reach back out to her and see if we can, at least have a meet and greet, right? Yeah. So that was one. And then we've had a couple of couples who haven't quite fallen down the page yet. And that's how it goes, when you're on these dating apps, you talk to these various people, and sometimes you connect and sometimes you don't. And if you don't, they just tend to fall down the page. And that almost happened to me with Christine. I was a single guy reaching out to her, and I was trying to play the slow game, and I bragged about it. Like, I did the slow game and it worked. But the fact is, I almost missed out on, like, the perfect relationship. So
he fell down the page, but every time he fell down, to his own fucking pure luck, he would reach back out at the last minute and he'd pop back up. And so I never deleted him because he kept popping back up. If he had not popped back up for so many days, I would have probably, I would have deleted him because I just go down.
So I'm not going to say never use the slow game, because it did, at the end of the day, the proof's in the pudding. She's with me. It did work. but it
Oh,
almost
please.
didn't. So be
It wasn't because of his slogan that it worked. though.
very careful. It's a cautionary tale.
We've talked about this. We don't want to get into this again. So,
Well, we haven't talked about it a whole lot on our show.
oh,
so.
we talked about how he didn't ask me out. He did not ask me out, right? He'd been talking to me for 3 weeks. Didn't ask me out. He wanted to ask me out, but he did not ask me out. But he went and asked somebody else out that talked to him once, and he asked her out and fucked her for 4 days. Okay, so what the fuck's wrong with me? Okay, huh?
Why didn't I ask you out?
What the fuck is wrong with me? You fucking, you know what? The lady that did my eyebrows today, we talk all the time. She's like my therapist. I see her about once every 2 or 3 months because I just, my eyebrows don't grow a lot. So I went in and saw her today and I told her this story and I was very fair.
Just because you're a blonde. Just because you're a blonde, that's why your eyebrows don't grow out.
Oh, whatever. So, yeah, my pussy hair is the same way. It's not like really massively crazy thick, but it's there. Anyway, so I told her the story. I was very fair. I told her things like, I said things that made Mike look good. I'm like, he hadn't dated in, really, honestly, he never had, He'd been married for many years. He hadn't had sex for a couple years. I gave him all the benefits. That girl, and she's young too, she wanted to drag Mike over the coals. She wanted to kneecap him. She was so mad at him for what he had done. And I was like, and it actually kind of made me, I was like, kind of feeling like, oh, she's probably thinks I'm stupid for being with him. And she didn't. She totally was like, no, I get it, but that was really fucked up. And I said, well, what bothered him and really got to him was I used the word integrity. And that really hurt his feelings that I doubted his integrity because he did it. Because he slept with a woman and while he was sleeping with her, he was freaking making a date with me. And he didn't just make a date with me on the first day that he was sleeping with her, but he freaking continued to text me the next 3 days while he was with her. And then he met me 2 days later or 3 days later. So
all right, you gotta give me a minute here. Okay?
Hold on, I'm not done.
Oh, God damn it.
So it looked really bad, and like my eyebrow lady was like so pissed. She was just so pissed, and I told her, I really didn't give a fuck that he slept with her. That wasn't the problem. The problem was, yes, okay, it isn't cool to be sleeping with somebody and texting somebody and making a date with them. Yeah, okay, I get it. That was not cool.
And that's where you got to let me step in for just a second.
He's going to say dating pool. Bullshit.
No, dating pool too, but
No,
FWB. What does FWB mean?
It doesn't matter.
It's NSA FWB.
And guess what? This woman, when he told her that it wasn't going to work between them, she stalked him for weeks because FWB my fucking ass. Okay? So anyway,
she said FWB,
yeah, we'll
but that's
just forget
not what
that.
she meant. Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's FWB or not. He was fucking sleeping with her, actively sticking his cock in this woman and fucking making a date with me. Okay? Not cool. Not fucking cool on any level. Not cool. But I told her, I said, that doesn't bother me. I understand it's not cool. I get it. That should not be happening. I agree. But what bothered me was that he had been talking to me for 3 weeks. And I told her, I said, and Mike said, oh, it was just the way it worked out, that he never talked to me until after 11 o'clock every night. And that did bother me. And I told him, I said, I felt weird, because the only time you would talk to me is after 11 o'clock at night, and you would talk to me a lot, and I know the apps are real wonky about whether you're actually online or not. So I know he wasn't online as often as it said he was, probably not, but he was definitely there some of the times. And he was definitely there earlier in the day. And he did actually talk to me in the beginning a few times earlier in the day, like 4 or 5 o'clock. So the fact that after about a week, in our second and third week, that he was only talking to me at after 11 p.m. kind of bothered me, and I told him that. And then also, I had very friend zoned him. I friend zoned him because I knew in the beginning when he matched with me that he liked me, but then it became just, kind of friendly talk, chatter. It was only after 11 o'clock. It was just like, so what are you doing? What are you watching? Or, what? It was just friendly chatter. So I didn't think anything of it. And I told this girl, I said, but he was like, who goes on these apps and wants a friend? And I said, that's what I do. And she totally got it too. She's like, well, yeah, I mean, if there is...
but hang on a second. She's your fucking eyebrow dresser or whatever.
Okay.
Like, of course she's gonna
she
blow smoke up your ass.
Oh, she was not blowing smoke up my ass. She was too pissed off. She was
on your behalf because you're her client.
She was way too opinionated about this.
I'll take your word for it.
She really was. She was way too opinionated. If this was just, fuck, I'm old enough to see when I'm being freaking sold because I'm paying her. Okay? And Mike looks at me like I'm stupid. Whatever. Okay, so okay. I'll just stop talking because I'm just stupid.
I just know that if I paid somebody to do shit for me, they better be in my fucking corner because I'm fucking paying them.
You know what? This is really all fucked up. And you don't like that it's fucked up. Too bad. You were fucked up for doing it. It is what it is. You hadn't fucked anybody. And you know what? That's what I told him. I said, but if you had asked me out, because we had been talking for 3 weeks. For 3 fucking weeks we had talked. And you didn't ask me out, but this woman talked to you one fucking day, and you got in her bed the next day. Why? Why did you get in her bed the next day, but you didn't even ask me out? I don't get it. I don't feel, and I didn't even have to say it to her. I didn't even say the word. She said, "Of course not. It makes you feel like you are the second choice." I said, "That's what I told him. That is exactly what I told him." I said, "I'm not even the second choice. It was like I was the third or fourth choice." I said, "He went out on several dates. And there was some other woman that he was talking about that, he couldn't get." So I really, 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 really felt like the last ditch effort. Like, oh my God, she's all I have left.
Okay. This is why this is not a dating show. We don't talk about dating because I suck at dating. Okay, I don't get it. I never did. I never will.
People, doesn't it sound like I was his only option that was left?
Oh God.
That's what it sounds like.
But I spent so much time trying to cultivate a relationship.
How could he be so in love with me when I was the only option left?
Who won? Who won at the end of the day? Me and you. Like, the proof is in the pudding. So yes, the long game is retarded if you are trying to like maybe have sex with people and also find your soulmate at the same time.
Yeah,
that's what made it fucked up. Honestly, if it would have been just Christine is looking for friends with benefits and so am I, she wouldn't give a fuck. But she was looking for her soulmate, and I think that she found him, and that person happens to be me. But I was also looking for my soulmate, but I also had not had sex in 2 years, and the first person who seemed able and willing to have sex with me.
And do you know what this asshole said to me? This fucking asshole. Yeah, and that is exactly how I'm going to talk about him.
Me?
Yeah, you. Because I have a fucking, it's almost a fetish. And actually it's not so much anymore. But when I met him, I had a pretty hardcore fetish of wanting my man's cum. I fucking was really hardcore about it. I so hardcore that I would be like, don't fuck and don't masturbate for 3 or 4 days, and then I want you to fuck me and I want you to come quick. You know, I really liked it. And this asshole tells me, and he doesn't really know me, so you know, he's just what,
shooting out of the mouth,
yeah, peacocking around, you know. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I fucked her 4 times and I came every time." I'm like, "Oh really? Fuck yeah, awesome." Does he do that for me? Fuck no.
I didn't say I came every time.
Yes, you did.
No, you
yes, you
that.
did. Nope, I did not. Everybody listen to me. Listen to me.
Woman?
He did. He said it. And he may have been just exaggerating because he was all, "Oh, I'm Mr. Big. Look at me." You know, but I'm thinking to myself, I could have had that. I fucking could have had, that could have been how we started our relationship. That hot fucking crazy sex that you haven't had sex in 2 years, and I could have had that, but, and you'd been talking to me for 3 weeks, but you fucking fucked the woman that talked to you once.
Okay, and I'm going to negate all of this.
Whatever.
Because the first time that she and I had sex, which we really haven't talked much about,
Was
honestly.
horrible. Well, it was in the beginning. It turned out well.
The first time we fucked?
Yeah. Do you remember what happened? You pushed me the fuck off you and
We
told
weren't
me.
fucking.
Yeah, we were.
No, we were about to. We weren't in coitus. We weren't mid-coitus and I pushed you off of me.
I was on top of you, and your cock was in me, and you pushed me off you and said, this ain't happening. You didn't use ain't. You didn't say ain't. You said, this is not happening. And this was just the beginning, and he's only
the first time that we came together.
He's only done it a few times, but he has really bad bedside manner. He pushes me off. And he's very
Right,
abrupt.
yeah. I mean, yeah, for the first several weeks we were together. If a fantasy wasn't working,
Yeah.
or if I got in my own head,
Yeah.
and I had to stop fucking because I was starting to just not be into
Yeah.
it, I would
Yeah.
like, okay, this is done. We're
And
done.
he'd walk away. So I had to explain to him how bad that made me feel. It's like, you can't just do that. You can't just pull your cock out of me, say it's not happening, and walk away. That makes the person
But
feel
no, I'm
bad.
not counting whatever it is that you're talking about.
The
I'm
first
talking
time
about
we
the
fucked,
first time
not that.
I'm talking about the first time
The
we
successful first time.
fucked and came
Oh.
together, and and it was fucking everything. So that's when I fucking fell in love with you. So don't poo-poo it.
Don't poo-poo it.
No, you know exactly what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
I do.
It was so fucking, and it was a deal sealer, and that's why when we started to fuck at first, I pulled away because I knew that there was no going back, that I had to be either completely in all the way or I couldn't do anything with this person who happens to, again, this Christine is my fucking soulmate, and that's how I look at it and how I have looked at it for, Jesus, how long have we been together, or how long has it been since that night? At least
Couple months.
8 weeks,
Yeah.
9, 10 weeks maybe.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you know, you know. So that's where we're at, folks.
Every week we do this. Every week you guys have to listen to us. Do our thing.
You know what?
We
though?
grow a little every time.
Exactly. Like, it's real. It's very real. Very visceral. Very
I actually enjoyed this one.
sincere.
I get to knock him down publicly.
Fuck Mike, what an asshole. Yeah.
Well, I just love that I got my eyebrows done and she was just like, oh, he did what?
Again, that's why we're not a fucking dating show. I don't know
Yeah.
shit about dating. Probably never will, and don't care to.
But if you want to hear some
Actual good dating advice.
yeah, my podcast, it's funny because my co-host, we have been going through this exact same thing with him. Although I don't know that we've really been public about it. We've done a lot of off-camera talking with him and the girls, plural, that he has been dating, and so we've had a lot of this exact same drama. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
Just the whole concept of a dating pool is really kind of a.
Don't even call it that. It's dating multiple people at one time. The only time that works is if you are wanting a friend with benefits or no strings attached and you are transparent with everybody involved. That's it. That's it. Because let's face it, we all know that if you're transparent with everybody, some people are going to fall off. They're going to be like, nope, that's really not what I want. And that's okay because you're being transparent, you're acting with integrity, and you're saying, hey, all I want to do is fuck you. I might fuck you for the next year. I might fuck you once. I don't know, but that's all I want. And some people aren't going to want it, and some people are going to say, yeah, that's what I want. And that's the way you should lead with that. You should not fuck people and make dates with other people that you think you may want a relationship with. No. Get your shit together and don't do that.
What I can say is that the instant that I had my first date with Christine, And she kind of explained, why dating pools aren't a good idea and why she would never do what I did. It made sense to me. And I instantly stopped the whole, I'm just, putting my feelers out to see, blah, blah, blah. There was no more dating pool. There was no more going on the apps. There was no more chatting with anybody.
And just so you know, what he's referring to is that I explained to him, and I tell this to anybody that I'm dating that I think I might want to date more than once. I feel it's a distraction if you have a date with somebody and you actually are in this for, looking for your person. And it only applies if you're looking for your person. If you have, say, 3 or 4 people that you're talking to, and you have a date and that person clicks with you and you feel like that person may be your person, at that point, for me, and I'm not saying anybody else has to do it, but it makes sense to me, at that point I stop communication with everybody else. I just do, because it's a distraction. I think that the person that I think I may have something with and I deserve better than me to be so distracted, which is what my co-host has been doing with these 2 women. And
Not me.
No, not
co-host on the other show.
Yeah, on my other show. He's been doing this, and it paid off exactly as I fear would happen, which is why I stopped doing that, because it distracts him. So he becomes so divided he can't figure out what to do, and he's so overwhelmed he couldn't figure out what to do, and then they figured it out for him, and it didn't go well. And that's all I'll say. It just didn't go well. And so I told Mike, I don't do that. I just can't do that. And he thought it made sense.
So yeah, I cut everything off that night. And she said, no, what are you doing? Like, don't do it because I said so. And I said, no, I'm doing it because what you said makes sense to me. I'm looking for my person, and I really feel like you could possibly be my person. And then the next date that we had, which I think was the next day,
it was.
I knew that you were my person. So
yeah,
that was it. That made it very easy.
Yeah, we were pretty fast movers.
Yeah, well, you know.
Yeah.
So.
All right, we've talked enough about our relationship. That's your update. Every freaking Wednesday you find out more about us. And, it's quite amazing to me, by having this podcast and talking about our relationship, how much we fucking actually go through every week. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's a roller coaster.
It is. So, on to the taboo topic. CNC.
Yeah.
It's a touchy one, guys.
It's
a touchy
dark.
one.
I mean,
It can be dark.
Well, listen, with as much conversation in social media and in the public domain and just in the zeitgeist about consent, and we have had this drilled into our heads pretty much ever since the Me Too movement began. Consent.
Right.
You can't hear enough about consent and how important.
And it's become a matter of survival for men. For men, it's a matter of survival. Men have become, especially since Me Too, and it's been like the last 10 years, a matter of, it's such a touchy thing that men have actually become a little, fearful, of doing anything. When I first met Mike,
may I kiss you?
Yes.
Remember that?
He asked permission for everything, even just down to the conversation we were having. And I think it was the same date. I think we were sitting in the bar, and I told him, I said, can I just say something? And I'm just gonna be honest. And I said, cut it out. Just fucking cut it out with the whole consent thing, the whole may I do this, may I do that. I am not part of the Me Too
you want to talk
movement.
about a sigh of relief. I was like, okay, good, I can be my fucking self.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, please stop.
Because you know what?
I don't
If you're
like
a beta cuck, I mean, yeah, go for it. With the consent
that's
shit.
different. That's different. But
But
Mike,
I'm not. I'm a fucking alpha, and I'm assertive, and I'm aggressive, and I just want to get in there and take it.
and that's what I want. So when I told him cut it out, if he had been like, what? This is me, then I would have been like, okay, I'm out. That's not what I want. I don't want a man who is afraid of his own shadow and won't even do anything, won't hold my hand, won't sit next to me, won't talk to me a certain way without asking permission. I don't want that.
Leans in for a kiss and stops halfway, you know.
May I please touch your lips? No, fucking get off me. You know, no, I don't want this. So yeah, the whole consent thing has. No, I will say it seems like it's getting a little better. Men seem to be taking their power back in the last year or so. I think I've noticed. And I am a huge advocate for this, so I might not notice it as much because I've always been an advocate for men to, have their power. I always say I'm a feminist's worst nightmare, because I am the woman who says, women, get on your knees and suck your man's cock because he needs it. And don't do it grudgingly. Do it with pleasure.
If Hillary would have gotten on her knees and sucked Bill Clinton's cock, Monica Lewinsky wouldn't have stood a fucking chance.
Right, and so yeah, I've always advocated men. I cheer men on, and I'm very happy to see that men are taking back their power, because things are starting to, for me, they're starting to feel a little more not so topsy-turvy, like, they're a little more normal.
But yeah, we've had the concept of consent just fucking drilled into our heads over and over, ad infinitum, ad nauseum. To the point where guys are like, can you sign this contract so I can have sex with you? Mm-hmm. And it's understandable, because
oh God, I mean,
it's like anything else. There's always some asshole that has to ruin it for everyone else.
Everywhere you looked for a while there, somebody was being sued. It was in the news every single day.
How many people got canceled,
Right.
Movie stars, talk show hosts,
And it was always the men and sexual consent or sexual, SA. It was always that. And whether it was with women or whether it was, with underage boys or,
Right, Kevin Spacey, his whole deal.
Right.
Kevin Clash. What's it with Kevin's and underage,
Well, what bothers me about that stuff, too, is a lot of these people, and Milo.
Milo Yiannopoulos.
Yes. He got canceled because of talking about this, what I'm going to talk about, which is a lot of these younger boys who are gay.
And we're talking about 15, 16, 17,
yes,
18, 19,
they
whatever.
seek older men. And it's a very common thing in the gay community. At least it used to be. I don't know what the gay community is like, but it was a very common thing to, what do they call it? They call it grooming. It is.
The slang term was chicken hawk. An older guy looking for a teenage boy was a chicken hawk.
But they didn't abuse them and they didn't treat them poorly. They took them under their wing and they kind of introduced them to the life. And they took care of them. And these young people usually fell in love with these older guys. And I mean, it was just kind of the way it was. And Milo talked about that very honestly. And he was called a pedophile. And he was canceled. And that's bullshit. And I'm not saying that's what happened to Kevin Spacey or Kevin whoever. I'm not saying that's it. But I think about those things. And I know that it's a thing. And I also know that during the Me Too movement, I'm doing air quotes, I know that a lot of people came out of the woodwork and decided they were SA'd. Or decided that they were treated poorly. Or decided they could just cash in on the whole thing. And, it became never question the victim, never question them, never even think.
I believe the woman.
Yeah, period. You have a vagina, you're honest. And that's such bullshit. And I feel like the same thing could be said for these young guys who could possibly at the time have been seeking this relationship and now decided, you know what? He's rich, he's famous, and I'm getting mine. So whatever. I don't buy into the whole Me Too movement. I don't buy into all the canceling. I just, whatever. But the reason we talk about it right now related to this podcast is because of the consent. And that's what we're talking about, is consent.
Hey, can an animal consent to sex?
No.
Then you shouldn't have sex with animals because they can't consent.
Correct.
Okay, we agree on that. I'm excited to do our eventual bestiality episode.
We'll be interviewing a cow.
No.
Anyway, so yeah, the whole consent thing. So we're talking about consensual, non-consensual, and that's why we went on and on, preambled over the whole cancel culture and consent and
Me too.
Yes, the whole thing, because in the lifestyle or in the BDSM community, there is a thing called consensual, non-consensual, and you actually give your consent and then take it away. You have, usually there's a safe word involved. You sit down and you talk about your boundaries and your limits, and you talk about the scenario you're going to create. It is role play put into action, and you lay it all out, and then you role play it, and it can be it could go anywhere. It runs the whole spectrum. It could go anywhere from I'm walking down the street and I'm kidnapped off the street and raped. Graped. And tied up. Just the whole thing, all the way down to something like mine. And my CNC fantasy is more like a date rape type of thing. I have it all. I know exactly what I want.
I just put something in her drink, just so everybody knows.
Right. Thank you. That is the beginning of my... No, it doesn't even have to be that. And I make it really clear. It doesn't have to be that. It could be that we've been talking for weeks and we just meet and we're really, really, really horned up. We've been sexting and getting ourselves all amped up. And then we meet at a restaurant and you've got a hotel room because you've come to stay, where I am, and you live a little distance or whatever. We meet at a restaurant and I tease the fuck out of you. I'm dressed really sexy, and it's just continuing the whole thing, the whole sexting thing we've been doing for weeks, and we get totally turned on. Maybe I let you finger me under the table, and then we go back to your room.
And then all of a sudden she decides that she no longer wants to progress.
Correct. You throw me up against the wall and you're tearing off my pants, and I'm like, whoa, and I start saying, no, I need to stop, and you've talked about it prior to, and you've said, I'm going to say no. I am going to say no. You do not hear me. That is part of the fantasy. I have given my consent for you to ignore my non-consent. It's consensual, non-consensual. It's a thing. And I know it can be very confusing.
Yeah, for sure. So my go-to when somebody says CNC is an episode of Law and Order SVU, in which a cam model was doing grape fantasies for her patrons, and one of her patrons took her seriously and went after her and graped her. And
he's like, but you wanted it.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And they ended up in court, and of course the jury had to be persuaded that she didn't actually want to be raped.
But see, I would be on her side, because that's totally different. This, what I'm talking about, and that's why we're talking about this, in a CNC fantasy, and this is why that man deserved to go to jail, because there's a problem with his thinking. He's going to be a danger to people. Okay, because in a CNC fantasy, you actually sit down and you talk about it. You play out what each person wants, what their role is
beforehand before anything happens,
and you come up with safe words, and you do the whole thing, and you consent to it. Now, having said that, you do need to be careful. So every state is different. And I'm not trying to go down a rabbit hole here regarding, everybody check their states or whatever. Just be cognizant over the fact that if you videotape something, and that's what I would suggest you not do. If it's a CNC fantasy, I would suggest you do not videotape it, because it can be used against you in court later. It will look like you are graping someone. And that someone couldn't say, you did. And not only that, even if that someone goes to court and says, it wasn't grape, I consented, they could still say, it doesn't matter, I am looking at a video of him graping you. And that's all that matters. He harmed you.
The evidence is all that
That's
matters.
right.
Quote unquote evidence. Whatever it appears to be, that could screw
Correct.
you in the long run.
Correct.
So.
And you talk to any lawyer, you talk to any cop, and they're going to tell you, don't fucking take pictures. Don't take video. That's fucking evidence. Okay? Even if you had a signed consent form, the video is what they're going to look at. So, just be careful when you do these things. Leave the video camera off when it comes to CNC. Just have your fun. Make sure everybody has consented. Make sure you've sat down and you've walked through your scenarios start to finish. It might not go the way you want it to, but you've talked about it. You have consent, and you have your safe words, and you go from there.
So when we talk, usually we talk about our personal experiences with the taboo of the week, sometimes to the chagrin of our listeners. I don't want to know what's been in Mike's ass.
Right. Yeah, we've heard that. We have heard that.
But so when it comes to CNC, I had a friend who was basically one of my best friend's wives say to me that she had fantasized about CNC, about having somebody sneak into her home and do things to her in the middle of the night. And then thankfully she qualified it with, but I'm not saying I really want that to happen. It's a fantasy. So if you have CNC and you talk to people about it, be very clear with the people you're talking to about it that you're not actually looking for it to happen, unless you're willing to have that conversation with someone about, oh, you're the person I would like to do this with.
Well, and that brings up another thing, like that guy, like you're talking about, somebody getting
The Law and Order
cam model.
SVU
Yeah.
episode, yeah.
If somebody is talking to you, an acquaintance, a wife of a friend, whatever, and they mention something like that, good Lord, that is not an invitation. That is fucking not an invitation. You literally have to sit down and have a conversation about, that person has to say to you, I want to talk to you about how this fantasy is going to happen. Let's talk about it. This is what I want to have. That's a whole conversation you should be having with somebody. If somebody just says to you in a conversation, ooh, I've thought about this, that's not a fucking invitation. Okay? You need to have a full-on conversation about it. You need to clarify what's going on, and you need to come up with rules and boundaries.
And there's a reason why CNC starts with C.
Right.
It has to start with consent.
Can you imagine if you had heard her say that, even and just ignored what she said second, and just snuck into her house?
I know
and
what you
fucked
really
her?
want. Yeah, I'd be in prison right now.
Right. I mean, that is not how this happens. That's not how this works. It's just, people think differently about things, and I get it. It's just like the whole scenario that we were talking about prior to talking about the taboo with you and sleeping with people and talking to people and dating people, whatever, the whole mess. Some people think it's bad. Some people think it's like, who gives a fuck? Everybody thinks different, and I get it. But that's why when it comes to consent and graping fantasies, that you should have full conversations. You don't mess around with this stuff. You can definitely do it, and it can definitely be fun if that's your fantasy. But it doesn't take too much brain power to know that you should be having full conversations and setting down boundaries and hopefully safe words.
So I'm parsing this very carefully because of the underage factor that Christine and I both play around with. We both imagine our younger selves doing things with the other's older self.
But again, this is just us.
It's just the two of us.
It's just us. And even in our fantasies, it's still us.
Yeah.
It's just us.
A minor cannot consent, period.
Correct.
Legally and morally, somebody under the age of, and it's 16 in most states,
But not all.
but not all. So it's probably 18 is your safer bet.
Yep.
Somebody under 18 cannot legally or morally consent to you doing anything with them. So the idea of CNC does not apply because they cannot legally consent. So even if they do consent, it's not actual consent according to the law. And really, if you think about it, not morally either. Because what does consent mean? It means that you are fully aware of the implications of what it is that you are saying to the other person, that you want the other person to do to you. And somebody whose brain is not fully developed because they're underage cannot do that.
Well, and to go even further, CNC in some states, they don't give a damn how old you are. They think it's wrong. The law thinks it's wrong. And if they get physical evidence that you have pretended to grape someone, they can try and take you to court over it and say that that person was impaired in some way, or whether
the power
it was alcohol,
dynamic may play into it.
correct.
If you're somebody's boss
There's
and
all
you
kinds
have
of
power
reasons.
over somebody, they can use that against you in court. Even if there's a CNC factor, they can say, well, she couldn't actually consent fully because she worked for you, and she was
CNC
subordinate to you.
Yeah,
so
CNC
blah, blah,
is
blah.
not something you should mess around with, unless you put a lot of thought into it.
Much
And-
safer as a fantasy than actual playing it out.
True. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, my thoughts, my opinions, if you're going to do it, no videos, no pictures. That's the main thing. Make sure that everybody is not impaired, because as soon as alcohol or too much alcohol or drugs of any kind come into play, you're vulnerable. Because any lawyer is going to try to turn that into, well, they were impaired and couldn't consent. So it's something that you want to be careful about. You don't want to take pictures, you don't want to take video, and you want to make sure you have a lot of conversation about it. And don't do it, it's just like, anything else that is illegal. I understand this is a consensual, non-consensual is not illegal, because by definition they have consented. For you to pretend to do something against their consent, that in itself, in the definition, is not illegal. But
There's always that gray area.
that's right, it's a gray area when if somebody wants to cause you trouble. So never have evidence, and just be careful. Talk about everything, and like I said, I mean, it can run the whole spectrum. It could be something. There are people out there that want the violence. They want the experience. They want all of it. They want to be roughed up. They want to be, taken off the street and beat up a little bit and graped and, but then there's people like me who just want to do what I said and then get to the point where I say, no, don't, and he does anyway. There's no I make it very clear. I don't want any violence. I don't want any humiliation. I just want you to be so overcome, and this feeds my praise kink. I want him to be so overcome with lust for me, not just the act, for me. Like he's looking at me and he's so overcome he can't stop himself, so that would be the very innocent side of CNC. And it could be anything from that to the violent stuff and anything in between. Stop it. I have to. Mike's gonna take over for a minute.
So
I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
I'm going to be totally transparent with you, and she's getting up to go to the bathroom, but the only reason I know that is because I was about to go down on her, because when she started talking about people not being able to help themselves, she's wearing like leggings and a shirt and nothing else while we're doing this show. And I just, I'm in love with her, but I am also completely in lust with her. And so sometimes I am overcome with lust and I just want to get down to business. And so as she was having that conversation with you guys about, not being able to control yourself, I had started to drop to the floor, cross the room, and spread her legs, and then she said she had to go to the bathroom. So, you know what, ladies and gentlemen, If you ever want something to stop, mid coitus or mid cunnilingus or whatever it might be, yes, going to the bathroom is a perfect excuse. And actually, I've used it myself. In my younger years when, dudes or whoever was trying to do shit to me and I was vulnerable, a great excuse in the moment was, I have to go to the bathroom. Because what are they going to say? No, you don't, and of course, I have to go to the fucking bathroom, so let me go to the bathroom. It's a great way to get out of any unwanted sexual advances.
Excuse me, are you saying that I was making an excuse?
Yes, because
No, I really peed. Too bad you didn't come and listen.
Okay, so you're going to give your final thoughts on CNC.
I think I did. I think I've made... my big point is to never videotape or take pictures, and to be, make sure you have a lot of conversation about it.
And my final thoughts on it are, what's the psychology of that? Like, why do women or men, but probably mostly women, want to be overtaken against their will? Like, what's up with that? What does that go back?
Hot.
Yeah. Does it? But I mean, does that go back to something like that happened to them when they were kids? Like, it's just interesting.
It's just a very primal feeling.
Yeah. Like, the peg going into the hole, the basic stuff.
A peg in a hole? What?
I don't know. It's all like certain parts go into certain other parts. And like, there's alphas and there's like, I don't know. I'm just ready to go down on you. So
fuck, get out of here. All right. I guess we're done. CNC. Be careful. Have a lot of conversation. You don't have to sign anything. Just make sure you talk about it.
Maybe record the conversation.
Yeah, maybe. Although that could be incriminating too.
Peace out.
Bye.